Let's welcome you. You're all welcome to this program, the Agile Cybersecurity Transformation Program. This is part 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. And can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen.
Okay. Oh, Tom is from Virginia, USA. You're welcome. Oh, greetings from Calgary, Canada. Bobby, you're all welcome. Yes. Abraham, where you calling? Where are you located? Okay, you're all welcome.
Sorry, this is Kenya, East Africa.
East Africa. Where in East Africa?
Kenya.
Oh, Kenya. Okay, you're welcome.
Yes. Thank you.
All welcome. We'll start, and while we're waiting for others to come in, Victor, welcome you. Just okay. Okay, you're all welcome to this event, the Agile Cybersecurity Transformation Part 2. We had the Part 1 last week, and last week on the 16th, and this is Part 2. Okay, Agile Cybersecurity Transformation. With increasing frequency of crises in businesses, we believe that this is the year when businesses should acquire and consistently have cybersecurity awareness and training delivered, helping them to improve their employees' cyber threats posture. So we need this, especially in this new normal. Yeah, we need cybersecurity transformation for every organization, for everybody. Each organization needs to strive to identify, protect, detect, respond to cybersecurity threats. So we should always check if is security operations part of our businesses. We should always have security operations as part of our businesses. And the most important part of any security strategy is knowing where security operation fits. So you all need to ask yourselves these questions if you have security team or not. Yeah, you could also outsource if you don't have security, if you don't have a security team in your office, always outsource to us. In view of the current advanced cybersecurity threats along with the massive cyber attack, we propose a comprehensive review of your current cyber posture. The expected outcome will be a holistic, agile, digital transformation of this Security Operation Center. That's SOC. SOC is the Security Operation Center. From the less optimal operational points into a perfect blend of people, process, technology, and governance combined. So highlights of our presentation, the last presentation we had last week, the Part 1, we talked on cybersecurity awareness. And we made you to all understand, for those that were present at the last session, we had we said that all staff, we're still saying it, that all staff needs to be educated on the threats and attacks they're exposed to on a daily basis to ensure they are aware of the types of ever-evolving cyber threats and equip them with knowledge on how to minimize them. We need to minimize these attacks or stop them completely if we can. It will provide them a high level of cyber and data awareness and comprehension. We all need to be aware of the cyber threats. We need to understand cyber threats too. We also talked on web and email security, risk-based vulnerability management services. We also talked on managed SIEM-as-a-Service. SIEM is security, information, and event management. Okay, we'll take questions at the end of the sessions, but you could put your questions down on the chat, please. Okay, and part 2 today, we are going to talk about the cyber threat hunting services, SIEM and SOC readiness assessment, SOC as a service, managed detection and response, MDR. So that's what we're going to discuss today. This is an agile space. Yes, we're all welcome to the Agile 20 Reflect program here. And some of us might be in the agile space. And so I just said that some of us are not. So I'm going to talk briefly on agile, what agile is. Agile is the ability to create and respond to change. Okay, I'll start by introducing myself. My name is Franca Ibuzo. I'm an IT consultant and cybersecurity consultant. I'm also a Scrum Master and a data analyst. Emmanuel, could you unmute and introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening all. My name is Emmanuel Adepoju. I'm a cybersecurity consultant and a specialist. Thank you very much.
Okay. You're all welcome. So Agile is the ability to create and respond to change. It's a way of dealing with and ultimately succeeding in an uncertain and turbulent environment. That's what we're going through now. Turbulent environments, and uncertain, very uncertain environments. So to succeed in it, we need to be agile. Agile enables organizations to master continuous change. It's a changing world now. So we need to be abreast of the change. It permits firms to flourish in a world that is increasingly volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Yes, the new normal, what we're going through now. Okay, so like I mentioned, today we'll be discussing cyber threat hunting services, SIEM and SOC readiness assessment, SOC as a service, and managed detection and response, MDR. Okay, cyber threats. What I'm going to do, we'll have an overview, then I'll hand over to Emmanuel to break it down for an in-depth explanation. Yeah. Okay, cyber threat hunting services. This reinforces your security team with the threat hunters, advanced threats, detection operation, utilizing the threat intelligence, SOC and sophisticated threat hunting techniques, tailored threat intelligence, response, reports with guided IR, that's incident response. And I already explained what SOC stands for. SOC is Security Operations Center. So the cyber threat hunting team engage with key stakeholders, to create or mature security program analysis and understand threats threatening your organization. Yeah, experts, I mean, like when we say experts, I'm talking about Cheska in partnership with Data6. So, yeah, so just we apply the threat intelligence to the relevant threat actors and probable threat scenarios to your organizations. Yeah. So threat hunting services, the benefits are as follows. We're quickly going to go through the benefits. Yeah. This will confirm if your environment has been compromised by an attacker. Yeah. Increases your confidence in system integrity and data confidentiality. Another benefit is it helps you understand the impact of any discovered breach, provides recommendation that makes your environment more resilient. It also provides actionable guidance on next steps to respond to and eradicate the threats, offering seamless integration with incident response. Yeah. Okay. Incident response. You also have another benefit is access to expert threat hunters, advanced threat intelligence and analysis. You also have insight into the origin, source, and history of cyber threats. And another benefit is guided incident response and remediation. That's you know how to remedy it. You will learn how to remedy or stop the an occurrence of the threat. Stop it from occurring. SIEM and SOC readiness assessment. As the threat landscape rapidly evolves, the Security Operations Center, SOC, being the frontline defense, needs to be effective, mature, and capable of detecting, investigating, and responding to complex and persistent attacks. That's why we need to train the front line officers. Yes, we need to, the front line, they need to know how to, they need to be effective, yeah, and capable of detecting and responding to persistent attacks. It's necessary to do that. So experts perform a very detailed SIEM and SOC readiness assessment review. We do a detailed SIEM and SOC readiness assessment review and provide you with a gap assessment report. We also list the field controls in priority order and provide a detailed action plan, which will allow you to remediate the gaps, that's to remedy the gaps. Yeah. The SIEM and SOC readiness assessment methodology is a full and complete walkthrough of all controls and provide details on what needs to be done to pass every test associated with the audits. So the team of auditors guide many companies through the SOC readiness process by helping them understand key roles, key controls to have in place. Yeah, so you need to know what controls you need to have in place and testing the effectiveness of policies and procedures. So we would guide your team on how to do the SOC assessment, yes, and so you understand the key controls, yes, to have in place. Okay, you gain an objective view of current SOC and SIEM states, also deliver SIEM and SOC services at all levels we also develop a roadmap to achieve a mature SIEM and Security Operations Center as a SOC. They manage the detection and response. That's the MDR. The MDR service is designed for advanced detection, threat hunting, anomaly detection and response guidance, utilizing a defense in-depth approach, which monitors and correlates network activities at the endpoints for effective detection and response. So the managed detection and response service combines best of breed endpoint detection and response solutions with CSOC service to provide unparalleled incident response services to detect and respond to threats of the endpoint. So we need to know how to manage detection, how to detect threats, and how to respond to threats quickly. Okay, so we leverage the best of the commercial open source and internally developed tools and methods to provide the highest fidelity of monitoring possible. With MDR experts, we deliver intelligence ahead of the threats. So see the threat coming and deliver, know how to respond to it. So benefits include you collect and centrally store security events from all endpoints. You correlate alerts with additional log data in CSOC monitor running processes. You take initial remediation action from the endpoint console. So you see it coming and you know how to stop it, remedy it. You visualize the complete attack kill chain to determine root cause, visualize lateral movement and accelerate investing. So with that, you can determine what the root cause of the threat is and trace it, visualize it. Okay. So SOC as a service. SOC as a service delivers human intelligence with state-of-the-art technology. This service delivers the key to advanced cybersecurity, next generation managed threat detection, and incident response services. This can be a fully managed SOC, co-managed, or hybrid model to give you the peace of mind and protection your organization needs at a fraction of the cost. So there are different ways. Yes, you could either like outsource it so that it's fully managed, or we could co-manage it with you. If it's fully managed by us, you have a peace of mind and you can concentrate on your core business. Yeah, you could have it co-managed with us. Yeah, and it's cheaper if it's outsourced or co-managed with us, because if you have to train your staff, train a staff to have an in-house staff or have all the machineries you need, that'll be a lot more expensive for you. So it's a lot cheaper to outsource it. SOC as a service delivers the following value-added cybersecurity services. You have the penetration testing on demand and ad hoc, have behavioral monitoring. We have the security intelligence, log management, SIEM, and big data. We have the vulnerability assessment, proactive network scanning, We have the threat hunting, proactive and reactive monitoring. We have the incident response handling and the network forensic network. So these are the value-added cybersecurity services that SOC delivers. So and you have threat intelligence, open source and subscription based. Could have it on subscription basis also. Expert investigation services, root cause analysis and remediation. So you get how to stop or remedy the threats. So the benefits of SOC: SOC reduces SOC complexity and time to value, increases speed of deployment and delivery. Instant cybersecurity experts and certified analysts. So you have instant, when there's a threat, you have instant cybersecurity experts and certified analysts. Improves threat detection and responses faster. Yes, with SOC, you can detect and respond to threats faster. Delivers cost-effective OPEX, CAPEX savings to the business and end-to-end threat visibility. So these are the benefits of Security Operating Center. Thank you. I will take questions and answers at the end of the session. Yes, and I'll hand over. For more information, you can contact me on this number or this email address. Thank you. I'd like to hand over to Emmanuel. Emmanuel, over to you. I'll give you access to share. Stop sharing so you can share.
Okay.
Okay, over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, good evening. Okay. We've had the overview. More or less, we're doing a kind of a deep dive on what has been mentioned earlier. Can you all hear me? I don't know.
Could you speak up a bit, please?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Is it much louder?
Yeah, it's better.
Audible?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Better now.
Okay. So with the 1 second.
Emmanuel, are you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I will share my screen in a minute. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Could you maximize your screen?
Yes. I'll do that now. Okay. All right. Let me just submit this in. Okay, so we'll be talking about cyber threat services. I won't waste much of our time because we actually don't have much time actually. All right, so the table of content here, we'll be talking about what is cyber threat hunting, cyber adversaries, that's threat adversaries also, cyber threat hunting tools, and the benefit of threat hunting, basically. All right. Okay, so we've heard about what cyber threat is basically. So it's more or less like it's a cyber defense approach. Majorly, it has to be proactive. Okay, so making sure that there is a swift response, all right, to threats, that might have probably, seem to be an issue that has been raised, in our network, in our endpoint, in our infrastructure, basically. So it's more or less a process, perform proactively, to discover threats within our infrastructure, basically. And in today's world, attackers, have leveraged a lot of opportunities against organizations, against companies, and all that. And they only need one successful, attack, basically, to gain access. All right. And with this, any organization providing this cyber threats hunting service should employ, highly trained, cyber security analysts to, scrutinize the network traffic and data sets, to get, to get a lot of information for security defense, for either for the clients or probably for the organization itself. All right. And our cyber adversaries, basically, we must understand, any organization trying to provide that cyber threat hunting service must understand, have that understanding the way an hacker or an attacker would, would behave, having that understanding. All right, what motivates, what's understanding the motivation that can provide you with a better understanding of where and when a cyber attack may strike. So we as a cyber threats service provider should have that understanding. What would motivate an hacker or an attacker, right, to have that to try to attack an organization. All right, and there are various types of attackers, adversaries. And then we have the malicious insider, the inadvertent insider, we have the hacker, we have the criminal, cyber criminal, we have the cyber activist, we have cyber terrorists. All right, so the malicious insider can be someone within an organization. All right, a perpetrator, disgruntled, troubled, probably that has some grievances against an organization. All right, majorly for financial gain. All right, so it might provide some information about the organization to the attackers, outside the organization. And also we have the inadvertent insider. Some of the time mistakes are being made. All right, and people fall into some forms of social engineering that might cause, an organization to be attacked, in any way. All right, so we have those kind of people. Then hackers also, they're opportunists. That's the way I put it. All right, they might want to play around or probably find some information, need some information. All right, and those are the kind of people that are called hackers. Then the cyber criminals, it's more or less like a stage. All right, so they try to hack people's organizations, companies, for financial gain, for a blackmail, for information that is needed, financial information, as regards your life or the organization itself, assets, basically. All right, and also cyber activists. All right, so these attacks are targeted, against the government, big organizations, for one reason or the other, for human rights, and we've seen a lot of attackers, trying to sabotage big companies, big names. We've read about them. All right, they are kind of people that we want to bring that change, but in a way, in a way that it's in a way that will breach an organization, basically. All right, so we have cyber terrorists. All right, so these are attacks that are motivated by political, religious, ideological cause, in espionage against governments, against big organizations, as I've said there. And so these are adversaries that any cyber threat hunting service provider should, look at, have the understanding of what they want, All right, so they can defend against those attacks basically. And the cyber threat hunting tools, all right, for every organization that's providing that cyber threat hunting services, the following are actually needed. All right, the log analysis and use of analytic tools, knowledge of baseline network activity, threat analysis and use of threat intelligence, understanding of endpoint apps, users, and access. So it is very much essential that a cyber threat hunting service provider should have a knowledge, all right, or have that in-house log, SIEM solution, all right, for analytics and all that, for aggregation, for query, because there are a lot of volumes of data that you might want to look into, all right. So is a cyber threat service provider should be able to have that, all those analytic tools for investigation and some other things. Also knowledge of baseline network activity. All right, they should also understand the baseline, the baseline of every threat that might that might come in. All right, that might have caused an organization to be breached and all that. So if a cyber threat service provider is trying to provide a service, to use our clients, you should have that baseline knowledge of what is going on, the infrastructure of that client, what has been put in place. All right, and also threat analysis and use of threat intelligence. Of course, every cyber service provider also should have that understanding. Threats today are evolving. All right, so they should not sit back and think that the threat that is that they have, or probably that has been for a long time, still exists. Of course, threats would always evolve, so they need to have that updates, of threats, so they can, defend against any threat attack and all that. Threats might come in any way, in any form, against an organization, against government and all that. So a cyber threat hunting service provider should be able to have that understanding. Also understanding of endpoint apps, user and access. This is the list this is always overlooked, in some way, and more so attacks come in through this area, endpoint, social engineering, phishing and all that. So a cyber threat service provider should have this understanding also. Okay, and what are the benefits, when you try to seek the service of a cybersecurity threat service provider? Okay, so they would help you determine if your environment has been compromised by sophisticated attackers, basically. So they would do a proper investigation of your organization, of your assets, of your processes and procedures, do a thorough analysis, of your environment to be sure that you're not being compromised. Okay, so, and also to increase your confidence in system integrity and data confidentiality. So they would be the one to advise you and say, oh, your data is at risk, your information is at risk. So they will give you that advice. What are the things you need to put in place? What are the solutions you need to put in place? Is a firewall effective? They need to upgrade and some other things like that. So they will definitely do some some in-house pen test, or probably an external pen test, kind of a pen testing activity to give you that that holistic view that, okay, this is at this point you need to do this, at this point you need to have add more defense to your infrastructure. And also they will help you to understand the impacts of any discovered breach. All right, so whenever you are breached, they would come in and look at what is the impact. Is it going to affect the business? Is it going to cost a lot of money in terms of information, in terms of the assets and all that? And also they will provide recommendation of security architecture, instrumentation and control to make your environment more resilient. All right, so the recommendation at the end of the exercise, they would be able to provide that what are the controls they need to put in place, all right, to make that environment more resilient for attacks. All right, and also they would provide actionable guidelines or next step to respond to and eradicate threats. All right, so in this case now, not just the recommendation, what are the steps? Okay, you need to put in place, to make sure that the threat or the attack, does not repeat itself again. All right, so they always definitely would also monitor, for network indicators of compromise and for anomalous activity. So in this case, the exercise they would embark on would show you some indicators of compromise, we call it IOC, in your organization, some anomalous activities that might have occurred over time, or probably that are occurring at the moment of the exercise. All right, and also they would identify any malicious activity observed on your network. Okay, they would be the ones to provide that visibility. All right, and then also they would try to isolate some endpoint that has been discovered and to be attacked. All right, some of the time when this exercise is going on, they might have probably they would identify some endpoints that have been affected. They will isolate them, do a lot of investigation on them, put them in a sandbox, and make sure that they do a thorough analysis, before putting them back on the network. All right. So, and also advising on the number of damaged materials left by attackers. So, all these would be provided by the cyber threats service provider, and it's also very important for all organizations to always seek the service, of a cyber threat service provider to be able to have that that visibility of what in this case is an organization being probably porous to an attack. All right, you have that information at hand. All right, if you're vulnerable to attacks. Thank you very much. So that'll be all for this topic, cyber threat hunting services. I think we'll take the question after the second slide. All right, so I'll be talking on the second slide now. Any? Yeah.
Yes, can we take questions, Emmanuel? Yeah, can we take questions after the second session? Yeah?
Yes, I just mentioned that now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I would be taking
but please, sorry, but please, could you drop your questions on the chat? Yeah, if you have any questions, please drop it on the chat. Thank you. Okay, over to you, Emmanuel.
Okay, all right. All right. 4 minutes. Okay. Can you see my screen?
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, could you maximize it?
Yeah. Okay. Is it better now?
No, Max. Okay. It's okay now.
Okay, so we'll be talking about managed SOC as a service. And things we'll be talking about is what is a SOC? What is SOC? Why manage SOC as a service? All right. The managed SOC as a service itself, SOC team structure, and the benefits of managed SOC as a service. Okay, so hearing about what a SOC is, what is a SOC? I don't know. For some technical people that might be on this session, we definitely will be familiar about the name, the abbreviation SOC. So SOC is Security Operations Center. Sorry, I did not have the word center. Okay. All right. So a Security Operations Center is more or less a central function within an organization that utilizes high qualified professionals, process and technology to continuously monitor and improve an organization security posture while preventing, detecting, analyzing, and responding to cybersecurity incidents. So a SOC itself, manages a organization security posture. All right. So they give that monitoring activity. All right. Prevention, detection, analyzing, and responding to, incidents, cybersecurity incidents. So you'd have that, it can be in-house, it can be outsourced. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Why manage SOC as a service? Of course, cyber threats are evolving faster than ever. There are new threats coming up, there are new vulnerabilities coming up, and some of the time, an organization does not have the capability to be able to, have that first-hand response rather to a threat. So that is why the word managed SOC-as-a-Service. So when I say managed SOC-as-a-Service, what does that word mean? So a managed SOC-as-a-Service is more or less that you are outsourcing your SOC, or maybe you don't have a SOC. All right, you have a third party providing that security operations center activity, for you, basically. All right. And if you look at the second point there, so few organizations have the resources to maintain expensive, noisy security information, event and management solutions and staff, and a security operations that capable of investigating and incident response around the clock. So when you have a SOC, being provided by a third party, you have that round the clock cybersecurity monitoring. All right. Some of the time, organization does not have that capability to have that first-hand response to threats, to incidents. All right. So you have cybersecurity organizations that will provide that service for you. Okay. All right. To give you that first-hand, incident response, to any threat that might have occurred or that probably will occur, basically. All right. So the component of a SOC cannot be built without these three components: the people, the processes, and technology. The people, process, and technology. All right. So in this case, the people here, they are the analysts, the threat analyst, the cybersecurity analyst, the SOC analyst. All right. That does that main activity, in the SOC, that does the monitoring, that does the incident response, that have that, that attend, that provide that first response to incidents, basically. And we have tiers of security analysts in the SOC. We have the tier 1, the tier 2, we have the tier 3, the threat hunters, the CSATs, analysts. Okay, and the processes also are very, very important. It plays a big role. All right, and most of the time is always overlooked. All right, it's very much overlooked, but it is very, very important. It's more or less like a step-to-step guide, to make sure that all incidents, all threats are properly looked into, properly documented, you know, things that are being monitored are properly documented, you know, what is the process of escalation, you know, and, evaluation, you know, and what are the stages of incident response. So all these processes must be put in place. All these processes is what a managed SOC would provide, all right? And also the technology. The technology is also more or less the backbone of a SOC, okay? So the technology in this case would, you know, provide the data collection, correlation, monitoring, you know, having a SIEM is going to give a visibility of, you know, what visibility of any incidents that might occur or that will occur, basically. So a managed SOC-as-a-Service should have these three components. Without these three components, a managed SOC cannot, you know, be very, very effective. All right. So the managed SOC operations, basically, we have a lot of operations that the SOC itself would do. All right. One of the things is log collection, reporting. All right. Log collection, you know, the managed SOC will have the capability to, you know, to get logs from, you know, from every data sources, you know, from the network devices, from applications, from the domain controllers, from the endpoints, all right, just to be able to identify, you know, any form of incident, threats that might have occurred in each of those areas. And also reporting, all right, they're going to provide that holistic report, making sure that the customer or the client, you know, are happy at the end of the year, and making sure that, okay, the reporting might be annual, might be monthly, daily reports, just to show that, to show the visibility, to show what is needed to put in place. You know, what are the incidents that have occurred over time? What are the incidents that needs to be looked into? So the reporting will show that. Research and development, threat intelligence, all right, knowledge-based. You know, a managed SOC operations have that expertise. You know, expertise is already there. You know, to provide. You know, ticketing, making sure that all incidents are resolved at every given time. All right, and also the SIEM, which is also the backbone of the SOC, aggregation and correlation of data collected, you know, over time. So in this case now, not just, you know, log collection, all right. So we need to, the SOC itself has the capability to be able to, you know, correlate logs, you know, making sure that it delivers a meaningful intelligence, you know, to every incident that will occur. The structure of a SOC, a SOC team, all right, as I've said, mentioned earlier on, you have tier 1, the tier 2, and the tier 3, and, you know, the SOC manager heads this team. All right, so the tier 1 basically they're the one that monitors, you know, incidents, you know, and they escalate to the tier 2, and the tier 2 looks into it, you know, provides some incident response, investigation, reporting. So if there's a need for an escalation to tier 3, all right, the tier 3 will look into it. You know, they are the ones that would, you know, provide that threat hunting capability. Okay, if there's something, if it's an incident that requires further investigation, the tier 3 would come in. And the benefit of SOC as a service, all right, it's very, very crucial. And for every organization, it is much advisable. You know, some of the time, organizations does not have that that budget, you know, to to have that in-house SOC, basically, all right? The burden is being reduced if it's being outsourced and being managed by a third party. Okay, so the benefit of managed SOC as a service is number one, you have continuous monitoring, all right? Attacks come in every single day, even during weekends. Sometimes, most organizations would close during the week and, everybody goes to sleep. But, when it is being managed by a third party, by a cybersecurity service, right? You have that 24/7, incident monitoring, right? Whether it is within business hours or off business hours, all right? And number two, increased response time. Okay, one of the most important benefits of modern SOC is to increase the speed at which security analysts can detect signs of attack, investigate relevant activities, and begin remediation to shut down the threats. All right. So when you have you've outsourced you outsource your SOC, all right, it increases response time. Okay, so you have people that would detect incidents swiftly and send reports to clients about what has happened. Okay, and providing that quick remediation, basically investigation about the attack. Also, security threat awareness. Okay, so the SOC will continue to provide that communication to the business to make sure that the business is aware about the risks, and to take cognizance of the cost effect, the business risks, basically. All right, and more or less, making sure that they show the organization, the roadmaps, security roadmaps, by sharing with them what has been, found out about any incident that might have occurred, providing that compliance reporting, making sure that the business is well safe against every cyber attack. So that continuous awareness is being reported. And also the benefits of managed SOC-as-a-Service is also to reduce cybersecurity costs. All right, so security operations system helps an organization to save money in the long run. Yes, of course. As I've said earlier on, organizations might not have the capability to, in terms of cost and, not just having that alone, it saves organization that financial budgets, some of the time, in the case of a ransomware, the SOC will make sure that an organization does not carry that heavy cost due to an attack, because you have a continuous incident monitoring, continuous reporting, a continuous investigation, a continuous response to incidents, basically. So with that, we have that reduced cybersecurity costs. All right. So this will be the end of the second topic, managed SOC-as-a-Service. All right. Any questions so far?
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. Yes. At this point, I'd like you to put on the chat where you're located. Yes, so would recognize you. Yes, could you just type on the chat where you're located? Also type your questions so we could take your questions. Yes, I see. Okay, Bobby was in. Actually, he was the first to come in. He came in much earlier before we started. He came in about 3. Bobby, we have Tom from Virginia, USA. You're welcome, Tom. Yes, Bobby is from Calgary, Canada. You're welcome, Barbie. We also have, please type your questions. We have Reba Alexander from the USA. Okay, Reba was my classmate actually at the University of Lagos. You're welcome. It's good to have you all here. Yes. Yes, could you type on the chat where you're located so we can recognize you? Yes. Joan from the UK, you're welcome. Yes, you're all welcome. Do we have any questions? We could take your questions now. If you have questions, we'll start taking your questions now. So type your questions on the chat. Okay. In the absence of any questions for now, Emmanuel, could you take the next session, please?
Okay. Okay, I'll stop sharing this. Then I would. Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay, we had, like I mentioned, with the sessions we have cyber threat hunting services, SIEM and SOC readiness assessment, SOC as a service, and managed detection and response.
Yeah.
So we've had 2 sessions, we have 2 more to go. So if you have any questions, please put them on the chat.
Okay. Let me share my screen now.
Okay. Okay, Reba says, interesting presentation. Sorry, I have to drop off for a meeting. All the best. Okay. Thank you, Reba.
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Bye, Reba.
Okay.
Okay, Manuel, over to you.
Can you see my screen now?
Okay, yeah, we can see your screen. Could you maximize your screen?
Okay, so we'll be talking about SOC and SIEM readiness assessment. Okay, it is very, very important that you have an assessment of your SOC and your SIEM infrastructure. All right, it's very, very because you house customers' data, customers' information. Okay, it's very, very important for any cybersecurity organization providing that cybersecurity service. Okay, it's very, very important. So also the type of content we'll be looking at: introduction, readiness factor, readiness phase structure, and the methodology, you know, of the SOC and the SIEM readiness assessments. Okay, Cybersecurity Operations Center, it's more or less it's a backbone, you know, of every modern age security and threat monitoring. Okay, and it pivots. It's actually pivots. You know, have three pivots: the people, the technology, and the process. Apologies for that incomplete word. Okay, so a regular assessment is very, very important to make sure that, you know, organizations that provide that SOC and SIEM service, you know, have that corrective measures based on the findings and gaps that has been pointed out by a SOC assessor, by a problem auditor, you know, that probably might have come in to audit, you know, that cybersecurity service provider. So it is very much important that every cybersecurity provider go through these assessments, either yearly or quarterly, depending on the organization itself. All right. So the readiness factor for every SIEM and SOC service provider is to have an understanding of the objective of the SOC. Okay, for every SOC assessor that will be coming in, you need to understand the objective. So what is the SOC providing? Okay, so what are the things that the SOC or the SIEM service provider are into? What is the objectives? All right, criticality and complexity of information being monitored is also very important. Okay, so what is the criticality of the data that's been monitored? Does it have to do with credit card? Does it have to do with just normal bio data? Does it have to do with financial data, or so a SOC assessor or an auditor should be able to understand the criticality and complexity of the information being monitored, and also look at the people, the SOC analysts. Are they able to learn, to adapt to any situation they might have probably find themselves, and also what are the technologies that has been put in place, what are the technologies that has been acquired by the SOC or the same service provider. All right, so these are the things that a SOC assessor or an auditor would look at. And there are phases when it comes to the readiness phase structure. We have the information collection, the assessment, recommendation and solution, presentation and conclusion. So this process is what a SOC assessor would follow. These are the phases. These are the phases a SOC assessor and auditor would be engaged basically with the SOC organization that's providing us that service. All right. So in the case of the information collection, all right, so the SOC assessor would have to interact with either a single point of contact in the organization, or probably the team, getting a lot of information as regards, processes, procedures, documentations, looking at their policies, what are the things that are put in place, and what are the processes in terms of incident response. This information will be collected and will be looked into, to make sure that they are up to standard. All right, the assessment phase, this is where the gap analysis, of the SOC would be, presented, after all information that are being gathered, in terms of, okay, what are the data you guys are housing? Do you have are you certified to keep the customer's data? Are you certified to provide this service? Do you have the expertise? Do you have the proper procedure and policies in place? All right. So in the assessment, the gap would be mentioned, to the SOC organization. So the recommendation and solution, the SOC assessor or the auditor would recommend, would recommend against the gap that's been found, okay, and more or less provide that consolidated report, having that full report about what has been done so far. Some of the time, this assessment, it doesn't just take it doesn't take it sometimes months, sometimes, depending on the engagement between the organization that's providing the security services and the SOC assessor itself. At the end of the day, when the security service provider has been assessed, they probably might be certified, in some areas. So, sometimes you have certifications like your ISO 27001 is part of the certifications that you would get. all right, and some other certifications also. And also the last part is the presentation and closure. So the this is more or less like a presentation where the SOC assessor, the auditor would come in and present to the organization, about the gaps and the findings, what are the things that should be looked into, and that would be more or less the closure of the readiness assessment. Of course, the SOC assessor would definitely engage, every department, from the SOC, the SOC, from public SOC analyst, threat hunters, the SIEM engineers, and all that. So, there's always an engagement at every point. Also, we'll look at the methodology. So the methodology as regards the assessments. Okay, so in this case now, this is more like a deep dive to what I've mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is information collection. Okay, so information is about business document, technology document, operational documents, analytics, what are the configuration files, what are the use cases. Excuse me, 1 minute. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so information's around use cases and rules. What are the daily activities?
To maximize the screen.
Yeah, it's actually maximized.
It's maximized. Yeah,
yes,
it's
it
fine.
is.
Please
okay.
Go on. Yeah.
All right. What are the daily activities? So those are the informations that a SOC assessor would be collecting, in the process of the assessment. All right. The assessment activities basically will be looking at how the SOC is being deployed, or how logs are being collected, what are the baseline rules, what are the rules that we have in place. And for every SOC, there are rules, for every incident that might occur. So there would be proper review. Those rules still applicable? In this era, some are they still effective, or there's a need for review? Fine-tuning some rules. All right, and also, how do you report incidents? Change management review. If there's a need for an onboarding, some other clients, is there a need for disengagement? That is where the change management comes in. So all these things would be looked, into properly, and the engagement will be either with the SOC manager or with someone that is that has that knowledge about the whole SOC activity. All right. So the recommendation would come in, as I said earlier on, as regards how the SOC is being deployed. All right. Recommendation around the log collection, recommendation around rules, incidents, recommendation around the SOC operations, recommendations around reporting, how reporting is being done, to give us a proper review, just to make sure that a SOC is up to a standard, okay? Because when you are trying to, get a client or a customer, these are the things they will look at, and if that SOC organization or SOC or cybersecurity service provider that provides SOC service is not up to standard, of course, you will definitely lose that business. So these are the things that a SOC organization or a cybersecurity organization that provides SOC service should always look into. They should have that continuous, assessments to make sure they're up to standard. Okay, so also, as I said, as I mentioned earlier on, the presentation, providing that, consolidated reports and, working through with the team or probably the SOC manager or the single point of contact, to make sure that all the things are being looked into, right? And last but not the least, as I've said, a formal assessment as frequency as once in 6 months should be conducted. It's very, very important, okay, to make sure that this assessment is done, either every 6 months or is a yearly base, a quarterly base. Of course, this should be done to make sure that an organization is up to standard, because cyber, the threats in the world today are evolving, okay, and for every SOC organization, for every cybersecurity organization, providing that SOC service should be ready to be up to that standard of providing that cybersecurity defense, to an organization, to customers, to their clients. All right. So that will be all for SOC and SIEM readiness assessment. All right. And the last but not the least, I'll be talking about managed response.
Okay. Before you take the last one, Emmanuel. Okay, I don't see any questions on the chat. Do we have any questions? You could unmute yourself and ask questions if you have any questions. And I see a lot of people haven't put down the location. Can we have your locations, please? There are questions on the chat if you have any questions. Yeah. Okay. Okay, in the absence of questions, we'll take the questions after the last session. Or you could put your questions on the chat, please. Okay. Over to you, Emmanuel, for the last session.
Okay, so I'll be sharing okay. Okay. 1 minute. Okay. Can you all see my screen?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's up. Could you maximize it, please?
Okay, can you see that?
Yeah, we can see. You can see. The last session will be on managed detection and response.
Okay, so we have the last session for today, which is managed detection and response. All right. The topic I mentioned, I talked about before, the security, the SOC and SIEM readiness assessment, which is this managed SOC-as-a-Service, works hand in hand with managed detection and response. Okay, so introduction, what is managed detection and response? Scope of MDR, MDR enabled problem MDR solves, and benefits of MDR, which is managed detection and response. All right, so introductions. Maintaining high levels of cybersecurity is expensive. To run security operations, company must invest in skilled staff and set aside resources for the right tools and devices. So the managed detection and response service provides an alternative to an in-house security team. Of course, when you have a cybersecurity service provider that provides that managed detection and response service. Okay, it's an alternative, a bigger alternative, effective one, than that in-house security team, because some of the time the tools, the solutions might be expensive. All right, even the processes, might not have expertise, all right, to provide that immediate response, detection and response. So when you have a cybersecurity organization, that can provide that detection and response service, of course, it's an effective alternative. Okay, so what is managed detection and response? So it's an outsourced service that monitors network for malicious activities, offers proactive threat hunting to remove intrusion, data breaches, and malware before an attacker can strike. All right, so it is very, very important that you have that managed detection and response service, in your organization, because you want that proactive, activity, against any threats, any incidents, before any data is being breached. You should have that first response. So who is the best to provide that for you? Of course, it's definitely be a cybersecurity, provider that provides that managed detection and response service. Okay, so what's the scope of MDR security? So threat detection, threat analysis, and incident response. All right, threat detection, constant monitoring of data and filtering of alerts for analysis. Okay, so these are the scope of a managed detection and response security service provider. All right, so there is a constant monitoring of data, of alerts. When an alert is being generated, they will be the first person to respond to that alert to say, okay, is this a malicious activity? Is it an anomaly? All right, is this something that is known? Is this something that is out of scope? All right, so these are the things that a managed detection and response security service provider will do. And also threat analysis, so examine a potential threat to discover its origin scope, and risk level. So it's not just detection alone. All right, the analysis would also come into play. All right, so they're going to provide you where the threat has been originated from, what has been affected, what is the risk level, okay, of that threat, and also incident response, notifying the client about an incident. 1 minute, let me try. Okay, notifying the customer, the client about issues, about incidents, about threats that might occur or probably occurring at the moment. Okay. Okay, MDR enabled. So let's look at the differences between an organization with and without managed detection and response. Okay, if you look at towards your left, all right, I'm actually looking at my screen also towards the left. You see an organization have lack of skilled staff and security tools, and the team cannot identify threats. Some of the time, organization doesn't have that skilled, staff to be able to identify. Some of the time, organization will have solutions, but the skilled personnel, the skilled analyst is not there, okay, and which will lead to cyber attacks and loss of assets, to the organization. There will be data breaches and all that. All right. So when you have the MDR in place, okay, all right. So they come in, and what do? All right. If you look at it, organization without skilled staff, security tools, cannot identify threats. They run into MDR. They seek that service. All right. And what do? The MDR will provide threat intel. There's continuous monitoring. There's real-time threat response. They'll be the first to notify you about the threats, that might have occurred, or and also active threat hunting. Okay, so they bridge the gap, between they bridge the gap for an organization that don't have that MDR enabled. And some of the time is, as I said, it's an outsourced service. Okay, all right. So that whole response, threat intel, continuous monitoring, real-time analysis, active threat hunting is being provided, addressed. If you look at the arrows, being addressed against, all right, lack of skilled staff. And also the MDR would house the MDR, the managed response, detection and response providers, houses experts, all right, that have broad knowledge about different threats, different, in terms of incident response, in terms of malware analysis, in terms of threat hunters, okay, that would attend to every incident, every threat that might have occurred. We have the SOC analyst that does the continuous monitoring, which they are the first responders. So they look at the activities that has been going on. They actually the first analyst to be engaged. Okay, when an incident occurs, and they will look at it and try to escalate. So the MDR itself would house all these activity, houses the expertise, and provide that to an organization that have they lack that skilled staff and security tools. So the MDR also would have advanced security tools, to have that visibility for investigation, for threat analysis. All right. So all these things is what the MDR would provide. So what are the things the MDR would solve? All right. So high alert volume. So many alerts can overwhelm a small security team. And alert fatigue leads to inadequate monitoring, causes workers to neglect other attacks, and leaves a network open to an attack. So when you have this high volume of alerts, all right, some of the time, in-house security team will be jumping about trying to resolve an issue, and at the end of the day, they would skip some important incidents, some important threats that might occur, which would lead to the network to be open to an attack. So the managed detection and response would help to undo that voluminous attack, because they have that expertise, not just one person, not just two, not just three, have 10, 20 security analysts that would manage, those volume of incidents, as they come in, basically. So their duty is to provide that 24/7, security monitoring activity, basically. Okay, so threat analysis. All right, so it is some of the time it's always very, very difficult for in-house teams to be able to identify some severe threats, within the organization. So the MDR has invested in itself, the SOC, the cybersecurity service providers, the providers manage detection and response service. All right, they've invested in a lot of advanced analytic tools that that can provide that cybersecurity threat analysis. All right, and being able to interpret any events on the network, basically, with the help of security experts that has been housed, within that organization. So they help to provide that, vigorous threats analysis. They give you that the cost, all right, the risks involved, to that threat. All right. So advanced attacks and breaches. Some of the time, in-house security team, some of the time they are poorly trained, and they struggle with advanced threats, but the managed detection and response service provider have staff with high skilled security experts that are capable of keeping up with cyber attacks. That is the job that they do majorly daily. All right, so they keep up that pace. All right, to make sure that organizations that are servicing are not faced with advanced threats. All right, so the threat is being reduced to a very minimal percentage, and to make sure that there is no breach within the organization. And also endpoint detection and response. Some of the time organizations don't have this budgets, even the time to train their security team in-house, to properly use those EDR tools. The MDR service provider, provides, and they come with that high quality, high end, EDR tools, security experts, security personnel, that knows how to use them. Okay, all right. As when it comes to your solutions, applications, to SIEM solutions, the MDR service provides that that expertise. When it comes to that, so endpoint detection and response, the MDR detection and response service provider does that for you. Okay, so the benefits of the MDR security. So one of the things is also to give a better overall approach to security. All right. So the managed security service provider would always give you that they would offer you that comprehensive security solution expertise, like more or less like they would give you that security expertise around security response, analysis, and threats, basically, and with the help of with the help of security tools, the advanced security tools for analysis, to validate and verify, threats, that might have occurred. And also, some of the time, in our security team will run into false alarms, and they'll be running up and down thinking it's actually a real threat. No, the MDR would make sure that there's nothing like false alarm. When there's a real threat, it's a real threat. If it's not, it's not. All right. So they provide that, that information, to their clients, making sure that, okay, is this threat a potential? Is this a potential threat? It's just a pass by, to some extent. So is it a false positive? Is it false negative? The MDR would do that. All right. So also the benefits also here is you have is fast and seamless deployment. All right. When it comes to your sorry. Okay. When it comes to your setting up a custom detection and response system, all right, the MDR provides that. Deployment is faster, management is, in terms of management, the MDR provides that proper, that high level management, all right, to every solution that are providing, all right, to that organization, basically. And swift detection of threats. That's why you have that outsourced service, to give you that swift detection, a quick threat detect, which is much easier and cheaper, when you outsource that to a managed detection and response service provider. And also the last but not the least is easier compliance, basically. All right. All right. So major MDR providers would ensure that the defense procedures are compliant with regulatory bodies. So it's not just having, providing that service. They make sure that also they're compliant with regulatory bodies, because most of the time they don't just service within their region. Okay, so they service some other customers outside their region, so they need to be compliant, to other regulatory bodies, process and procedures, and to give that to provide that standard, for that organization, they are trying to service, basically. So these are the benefits of managed detection and response service provider, and it's a new evolution as it is. Right, most companies would rather outsource that security service, to manage detection and risk, because cyber threats, come, day in, day out, and an organization might be overwhelmed, so they need someone to lessen that burden of them. All right, in terms of not just the activity alone, also in terms of the cost, the budgeting. Okay, so having that outsourced to a managed and detection response service provider lessens that burden, of that organization. All right, so that will be the end of this presentation. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, we'll take questions now. We'll go through the chat, and I see Pastor Chooks is one viewing from UK, and he wants to know what cybersecurity is. Okay, I guess you missed the part 1, where we talked about, all these, we're talking about cybersecurity as a whole, but we also explained it in part 1. Could you throw more light on it, Emmanuel?
Okay. So you were not in the first presentation. Okay. So okay. Are you saying something?
No, he wasn't in the first session. So yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, because the first session actually, we talked about cybersecurity awareness. Yeah, where we said all staff needs to be educated on the threats and attacks they're exposed to on a daily basis to ensure they are aware of the types of ever-evolving cyber threats and equip them with knowledge on how to minimize them. So it will provide them a high level of cyber and data awareness and comprehension. They all need to be aware. So could you throw more light on what cybersecurity is about?
Okay, so as you've mentioned, rightly said, okay, so making sure that we are well protected against, any form of cyber attack, any form of, cyber incidents. Okay, so that is majorly what that cybersecurity is all about. So it's not just because when people hear about cybersecurity, they think, okay, it's just an organization thing. A big organization will have to adhere to the word cybersecurity. No, the awareness is always coming to everybody. To be aware of the cyber threats. That is in vogue. It's something that it affects everybody, right, from the young to the old. All right. So cybersecurity is very, very crucial. It's more or less like it's a day-to-day lifestyle of everybody that everybody should be aware, should be conscious of. Okay. So making sure that we are protected against criminals, trying to take advantage. Let me put it that way. All right. To make you understand much better. So of course, if you look at it, we all use credit cards, we all use mobile phones, we all use laptops, and all anything digital. Okay, so in this case now, we are prone to cyber attacks. We are prone to criminals. So the cybersecurity coming into play is making sure that we are aware of what is going on. We are aware of the cyber threats, that is in vogue right now. A lot of people would want to have access to people's information. All right, your credit card, your financial statements, your bio data, everything about your life, basically. That is what they want to see. That is what they want to have access to. Okay, so how do you not fall into the hands of people like that? How do you not fall into the hands? What are the things that you need to put in place? What are the measures as a person, not just an organization now? All right, what are the measures you as a person need to put in place? Right, the person, of course, we all use mobile phones. Okay, we all use mobile phones, and we all try to access the internet. Of course, we should be careful. For example, we should be careful of what are the things we look at, on the internet. What are the things we click on the internet? What are the things we search on the internet? Because with that, hackers can use the opportunity, to find their way into your device, into via any medium whatsoever. Okay, if you look at in the case of WhatsApp, all right, it's always advisable to have that two-factor authentication enabled on your WhatsApp. Those are the measures that you need to put in place when it comes to cybersecurity. So when you hear the word cybersecurity, it's not a big word. It is not a big word at all. So it is something that we need to practice day in, day out. All right. So we don't fall into the hands of, hackers, criminals, that might want to, have that leverage on our informations and all that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay, thank you, Emmanuel. Yes, any other questions? Do we have any other questions? Yeah. Yes, you could put your questions on the chat. Put your questions on the chat, please. Okay, I see. I see John says, "Wow, that interesting session." Yeah. Thank you, John. Okay. In the absence of any other questions, our contact is. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's our contact, our phone number, and the email address you could reach us. We're partnering. Cheska Global Solution is partnering with Data Security Consulting to provide cybersecurity transformation to you and the organization. Don't say it doesn't concern you. If you use a mobile phone, it concerns you. Everybody uses a mobile phone. Your phone can be hacked also. Yes. Okay, this session is time boxed. And in the absence of any questions, yes, would like to say a big thank you for having you all on board. Yes, I noticed, okay, some people have dropped off. A big thank you to Blessing, Anita, Bimpe. Okay, Data 6. We have George, John, Mr. Chicks, Prince Lauye, Ogechukwu. We thank you all. Yes, it was nice having you all on board. I hope you enjoyed the session. Yes, you could unmute and just say, tell us if you enjoyed the session. Yeah, if you have anything to say, you could unmute and say. All right, then. Okay, so we'll end the session. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. It was nice having you all on the call. And bye.